Water tube boiler components: firebox, refractory lining, radiant tubes, superheater tubes, burners, pilots, air registers, draft fan, stack, damper, steam drum and mud drum. Diagram of water tube boiler components. The same diagram but little bigger in size for your reference. Firebox. The heating portion of a boiler is similar to that of a furnace. Like furnaces, boilers contain a firebox where the burners are located and radiant heat transfer occurs. Refractory lining. A special refractory lining, a brick-like form of insulation, is used to reflect heat back into the box and protect the structural steel in the boiler. Request. It is hoped that this session is going to be useful to you. Please press like button. Please सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल। यह लेक्चर हिंदी में भी उपलब्ध है। Radiant tubes located in the firebox area of the boiler are radiant tubes. Radiant tubes and riser tubes both contain boiler feed water that is heated by radiant heat from the burners and boiled to form steam that is returned to the steam drum. Superheater tubes. Superheater tubes are tubes where steam is removed from the steam drum and heated to remove moisture content without an increase in pressure. Burners. Burners are devices that introduce, distribute, mix and burn a fuel. For example, natural gas, fuel oil or coal for heat. A burner can be a pre-mix burner, that is, fuel, gas and air mixed before either enters the burner tip. A raw gas burner, gas not pre-mixed with air or a combination. Pilots. Pilots are used to light burners. Air registers. Air registers control the flow of air to the burners to maintain the correct fuel to air ratio and to reduce smoke, soot or nitrogen oxide and carbon monoxide formation. A draft fan is used to control draft in a boiler. Depending on the design of the boiler, the draft fan either forces the air through the boiler, that is forced draft, or pulls the air through the boiler, induced draft. In some boilers, a combination of the two is used. In that case, it is called balanced draft. In this diagram, we are showing the example of the balanced draft. Here we can see that we are using a forced draft fan, we are using an induced draft fan, and the combination of the two is producing a balanced draft in the combustion chamber. In the combustion chamber, the draft is just little bit below the atmospheric pressure. Stack or chimney. Water tube boilers have a stack at the top of the boiler to remove flue gas. Damper. Contained within the stack is a damper for regulating the flow of flue gases. A steam drum at the top of the boiler is where all generated steam gathers before exiting the boiler. Depending on the boiler design, water enters the steam drum or the mud drum from the economizer. In this diagram, we can see that feed water is entering in the steam drum from the economizer. In this diagram, we can see that the feed water is entering in the mud drum. Mud drum. At the bottom of the boiler is the mud drum where sediment accumulates. Request. It is hoped that this session was useful to you. Please press like button. Please सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल। यह लेक्चर हिंदी में भी उपलब्ध है। This lecture series is in loving memory of my late wife, Mrs. Ambika Chadha, maiden name Pammi Mani.